What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a hoot and a holler, a true banger of a video. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Drop a like if you do, and also, we got some special stuff to talk about here. So as you guys saw in the last video, the grinder's coming soon. Yeah, but even sooner than that, boys. We've got shot glasses, stickers, fanny packs, and much more merch dropping this Friday, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. In just 2 days, one day, depending on when you're watching this, or it could be after the drop, who cares? We're dropping the goods, boys. We got the shot glasses. Come and get you a Goblin shot glass and come get drunk with me, all right? Listen, if I go to any function and anyone busts out a Goblin shot glass, I'm filling it up all night for free. That's all I'm saying. But either way, back on topic here. Cop one of them bad boys, all right? They drop on Friday. Be ready for it. That's all I wanted to talk about here. Nothing else, really. Let's dive right into this banger of a video. So, initially, I was debating on making this a part of the Miami Mayhem series, but I then realized that it didn't really make sense because I was already back from Miami when this happened, and it's kind of irrelevant to the trip, you know? This, however, deserved its own video, in my opinion, because the way this ends up is kind of sad, and we'll get to that. This isn't your typical Goblin story where it's like, oh, this is super lit, things are great, yada yada. Like, no, it actually, like, I blocked it. I cut this guy off. We're gonna get to that. I felt really bad for him. I did it out of pity, but we'll get that, right? We'll get to that. So, on my way back from Miami, when I landed back at the St. Louis airport, I had to catch an Uber back home, right? It's a fairly long drive, and this guy comes and picks me up, right? And he picks me up, and he happens to be from the same town that I'm going to. He's like, oh, like, you know, like, are you going to, like, so-and-so town? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, dude, like, I'm from there. And I'm like, well, like, what the fuck are you doing out here? Why are you in St. Louis, dog? Like, I live in Illinois. Like, what are you doing here, bro? Like, why are you just booing at the air? I mean, I guess if he wants to make some money, but it's a long drive, dude. Like, well, I mean, okay, I guess it may. If I was like a Uber driver in my town, I would drive to, like, a big city airport to go make some money. So I guess it makes sense. But either way, long commute for this guy. So I gave him an early clock out, right? I was like, yo, dude, take me to my town. He's like, oh, yeah, I live there. So I hop on the Uber, and we're making small talk just about the town and stuff. And he's like, oh, how long have you lived down here? And I'm kind of explaining, you know, that I recently moved down here and stuff, and I hadn't been living in this town for very long. And he's like, oh, yeah, I grew up here. I'm born and raised here, you know? And I'm like, okay, cool stuff. That's good, right? So we're chatting it up a little more, and we hit it off. You know, I actually liked the guy. He was a cool dude. And we were talking about smoking and other drugs and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, yeah, man, I love pills, and I love weed, and I like acid. So we were talking about acid. As soon as he said the acid part, my eyes lit up, dude. My ears perked up. I was like, my man. He did not strike me as the kind of guy who liked to trip. He was like a very country dude with like a tank top on and like sunglasses. Like he looked like he might have just stepped off of a construction site or like a ranch potentially, you know? But this guy, like if you guys saw my Country Boy stream, he kind of looked like me in that, or he looked like Jeff Bezos when he popped off the rocket ship the other day. Why did that fucking idiot have a cowboy hat on? Either way. So we're riding back, and we're really, you know, we're getting along. I'm like, okay, you know, I could see myself hitting a blunt with this guy or some shit, you know? So we're riding along, having a little chat, and I mentioned, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, you said you like pills. Like, what kind of pills do you like? And he's like, oh, you know, I really like benzos. I like Xanax a lot. I used to like opiates, but I don't do that anymore. And I'm like, oh, that's good, bro. You know, opiates are fucked. I never liked opiates much either. But at this particular time, I still had some Xanax at home, right? And after I landed from Miami, I kind of already decided towards the end of my trip in Miami that, like, I was kicking the Xans when I got back home. Because, as some of you guys may be aware, if you've been watching my recent content, I'd say this started in, like, April or May, you know, and led up all the way up until when I got back from my Miami trip. I was a bit of a bartard, you know. I'll admit it. I'll confess, okay? I sinned. I went against my own word and took Xans. That's just how it goes sometimes, man. I was going through some tough times, but at this point, I had a bunch left, and I just did not want to sell him anymore. Or I didn't want to take anymore. So I figured, like, if this guy wanted them, I'll sell him all the fucking Xans I have, right? So that's exactly what I did, right? I'm talking to him, and he's like, oh, yeah, bro, like, I like Xanax a lot. And I'm like, oh, shit, you know, if you're ever trying to, like, get some or something, just let me know, man. I mean, I don't sell them like that, but I have a personal stash that I'm trying to quit them. So, you know, if you want them, I'll sell you the whole stash, you know? And he's like, oh, bet, dude. So we're chatting it up a little more, you know, and I don't know if he just, like, forgot about it or didn't take me seriously, but he didn't really bring it up much after that. But best believe me, this guy was very interested in purchasing these from me, okay? we get back to my house, right? And he's like, I ask him, I'm like, yo, do you want to buy any of those? Or like, what's up? And he's like, oh, I get paid in a few days, bro. Let me get your number, right? So we exchange info, and then I tell him, I'm like, yo, wait here, dude, I got you. So I go inside, run upstairs, crack my safe open, right? I grab out my Xans. I took 2 of them, and I brought them back out to him. And I was feeling nice. He was a cool guy. So I even brought a little bit of weed out to him. I had some mint chocolate chip that I got from the dispensary. And he was mentioning on the ride home how he hadn't smoked in a little while because he'd been kind of broken out of weed. So I was like, I'll do him a solid. I'll get him right. I brought him out 2 bars, and I brought him out like probably 2 grams of bud, and I was like, that's good. He'll be good off that. So I brought that out. I gave that to him, and then I tipped him as well. I tipped him very generously because I liked the guy, and he drove me. I mean, I guess it wasn't out of the way for him, but in general, Uber drivers are not expecting to take like long ass, like damn near like 75-mile fucking cab rides or, Uber rides, So I was grateful that he was willing to pick me up and drive me all that distance. So I tipped him well. I gave him the little loadout and I sent him on his way. And he's like, oh man, you want me to have this for real? Like, thank you, man. So I was like, hey, don't worry about it, dude. Honestly, I might just give you all my Xans for free if you don't have any money in a few days because I don't want these shits anymore, right? So after that, he dips out, but we exchange contact info. A couple days go by, and I guess he got paid or came into some money one way or another, and he hits me up, and he's like, yo, you still have those yops? I'm like, yeah, dude. I found the slang he used very interesting because he said he was, like, born and raised in my town, but his slang was nothing like my town. He had a very, like, Chicago dialect. Like, everything I said to him, all the, like he just understood everything I said. I feel like a lot of some of the slang terms I use when I'm talking to like an older person, especially like an Uber driver, they sometimes don't understand what I'm saying. But this guy got all of it, and he was throwing the lingo out too. I was like, damn, okay, this guy must buy a lot of drugs or something, dude. How's he know all this lingo? Like, okay, he didn't come off as the kind of guy who would, be calling Xans yops and shit. But here we are, okay, like my man. All right, we could do some business here. So he hits me up, and I'm like, yeah, bro, I got a bunch left, I'll sell you every single one I have. I don't want these shits anymore, So he's like, bet, dude, say less, like, how many do you got? And I'm like, give me a minute to count them out, and I'll get back to you. So I count them all out. I had a pretty good amount left. I had, all right, everyone's going to think I'm an absolute animal of a bartard, but listen, when I buy substances, I buy them in large quantities. I like to get bulk. Because then, if I have friends who want some, I can just hook them up, I get a better deal for myself, and I don't have to constantly re-up all the time. It's just how I like to do shit. Weed is no exception. I do that with pretty much every substance that I like doing and see myself doing for a decent amount of time, which is hypocritical because I don't like Xans, and I didn't want to do it for very long, but you guys know why. I was going through a bad period, so you guys know why that happened. But either way, I end up counting them all out, and I had pretty close to, 75 of them shits. It was like... It was over 60. I don't remember the exact number, but I counted them out and I sent the number to him. I'm pretty sure it was we'll just call it 70 for the sake of the video, right? So I count them out and I shoot him the text and I'm like, yo, my dude, I got 70. I'll sell you all these shits for 300 right now. It was a little over 70, but either way, I'll sell you all these shits for 300 right now. That's all I have. I won't be getting any more, And he's like, oh, bet. So he comes through. I lead him into my house. He's chilling a little bit. I'm like, yo, just wait downstairs. Let me go grab him real quick. I'll be right back. So I run upstairs. I grab those, and I had a blunt as well that I already rolled earlier. So I brought that down. And I was like, yo, you trying to hit this blunt or something? He's like, yeah, dude, for sure. So I spark up the blunt, and we're chatting a little bit after I serve him. He counts them all out himself, and I'm like, yeah, go for it, man. Do whatever. Oh, God, my fan just turned on automatically. Hey, shut the fuck up. Okay, back on topic here. So we're smoking this blunt a little bit and just kind of chatting, and he's like, oh, what other stuff do you like to do? And I'm like, well, we were talking about acid. I really like acid, but I actually don't really have any of that right now, And he's like, oh, okay. And, after he got the bars, I was telling him, I was like, listen, man, these are really strong. These are good shit. Take one at a time. Take one Xan at a time, okay? I promise you, these are very strong. The guy didn't take me seriously, which I don't blame him. If you go and buy from a drug dealer for the first time and they keep warning you about how strong their shit is, obviously they're, it's safe, not safe to assume, but you would think that they're probably just talking up their product. So I understand why he didn't listen to me. But at the time, he was like, yeah, okay, for sure, man, I will. I'll just take one. The very next day, this guy texts me, and he's on his way to work. And he's like, yo, man, I'm on my way to work. I just popped 2 of these shits. We'll see how it goes. He texted me at 8 a.m. saying this, and I wake up at an hour later, and I reply to him, and I never got a response back, right? Later that day, like a good 6 hours went by. He texted me back at like 4 p.m. And he was like, oh, man, you were right, man. I should have taken 2. I was fucked up. I had to clock out early and leave. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck, bro? Like, you can't be popping 2 yops and going to work, dude. This guy, like, no, dude. This guy, like, from what I could tell, he didn't have a crazy high Xan tolerance. You know, he really liked the shits, but he didn't have a crazy high yop tolerance. So I was like, yo, dude, if you're really going to take it for work, take half. Like, you don't need to be barred the fuck out to get your job done, because you're not getting shit done, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, for sure, I'll remember that next time. Couple days go by, we don't talk. Like 4 or 5 days pass, right? This is the part where I mentioned earlier, it gets kind of sad here, and this is the reason why I had to cut this guy off and stop talking to him, because it became apparent really quickly how desperate this guy was for Xans. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone that desperate for any drug. I mean, granted, I've never been like a long-term drug dealer. You know, I've always, when I sell stuff, it's just to make a quick buck, or it's out of my Percy stash, or just to break even. You know, I was never really, I mean, no, my high school days don't count. I was never really trapping like that. But at the same time, I still like, I'd still sold to enough people to say like, yeah, this is crazy, you know? This guy hits me up and he tells me that he got fired from his job. Before I even get a chance to reply, he goes, but I got this $2,600 welfare check coming, right? It comes in like a few days. And then he also tells me that once his unemployment hits, he's going to be getting a $5,200 check in October. That includes, it's like unemployment and welfare. I don't know what programs this guy was on. He kept talking about like all sorts of government checks that he was supposed to be getting. And I didn't believe him until like a day or two after he sent me that text about him getting fired. He hits me up and he's like, yo, man, my money's hitting tonight. You know, I got $2,600 coming tonight. You can have all of it depending on how many ops you have. And I thought he was joking at first, right? I did not believe this guy. I was like, okay, he's just talking. He knows I don't have $2,600 in Xanax, you know? But I'm kind of intrigued, you know? I'm sitting there and I like hit him back and I'm like, are you for real? Like you really want to buy $2,000 of Xanax? And he's like, yeah, man. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, this guy's got to have bills. He's got to have a home. He has a car, clearly, because he Ubers. And now he doesn't have a job. He told me that he Ubered just on the side on, like, you know, days off and shit. So now Uber is his primary income, and he's taking Xans every day, so chances are he's probably not finding another job anytime soon, especially when the drug test rolls around, right? This guy was an animal. He'd send me the most barred-out texts sometimes. I could tell when he popped some of them shits, right? But either way, he texted me that, and as soon as I realized he was being completely dead ass about it, I just ghosted him. Like, as soon as I realized he was being completely serious about spending his last pennies that he had, like, down to the last cent, he would have given it to me. He was 100% dead ass. If I found a way to get $2,600 worth of Xanax, he would have taken it. And if someone hit me up and said that shit to me in high school, I would have been on demon time. No chance, bro. I am hitting up the plugs. I'm begging for a front, dude. I'm straight up crying for it because I didn't have that kind of money back in high school. I'm crying for it, bro. I'm saying, please, man. Please, man. Give me that, you know? And, man, he's lucky he caught me at my current age because I felt terrible. I was like, dude, I felt bad about even giving him the initial Xans because I never knew this guy would get like this off these shits. Like, popping the bars, he would just change, you know? He'd go from, like, you know, the normal guy I met in the car who seemed like a, you know, pretty hardworking, dedicated guy to, like, bam, get fucked, bar-tard alert, willing to lose his job, spend all of his income solely to be barred out day in and day out. And the way he was talking to me, he kept describing, like, yeah, I really need these shits, man. I just got fired. Like, I need them bad. Like, he kept hitting my line, even after I repeatedly told him, like, man, no. And eventually, I just stopped replying and just let the text kind of simmer down and die down, you know? Now, he doesn't text me anymore, but, well, it's been about a week, I'd say. Let me look. Let's go through right now. I changed his contact name to Do Not Serve. Oh, my God. No, okay, the last time he texted me was last Wednesday. So a week ago from today, actually. Yeah, it was a week ago to the date, right? And word for word, here's him saying, I got fired. I fucking need these. Dude, I felt so bad for this guy. I just couldn't answer him, dude. So I aired him. And it made me kind of realize, like, if there's ever any instance in my life that I'm going to look back to and be like, that's why I'm not going to do Xanax and get heavy into it, it's that. I know I've said that multiple times before, but like, I've seen Xanax ruin my friends' lives. But to see it from an outside perspective and watch some total stranger, you know, just totally decimate his life in exchange for some fucking Xans in his system, blew my mind. And it shook me, dude. I was like, this is a grown man who's probably at least like 10 years older than me, I'd say. Like, he was definitely older than me. And he's like, he is way past the point in his life where that should be happening, you know? I mean, I guess drug addiction doesn't have any age limits, but like, damn, bro, I felt horrible for this guy, dude. I felt so bad because the thing is, I know that it's not like I ghost him, then he's like, oh, you know what? Now I'm done taking Xanax. I know fully well that he's probably out there hitting up the next Xan plug who has shittier bars than I did and probably getting some Fenty shit, you know? But it is what it is, you know? I did my part by ignoring him, and that's the best I can really do. But I feel bad for the guy because he's fucking cool, you know? And I wish that I could still be cool with the guy and, like, smoke with him and kick it with him. Because, like I said earlier, I actually really got along with him. He's a cool dude. He told me he liked taking acid. I was like, yeah, I'd trip with this country-ass dude. He seems like the kind of guy I'd be down to go fishing in the woods and, like, go out with spear guns off, like, 2 tabs. Yeah, that sounds lit. Hell yeah, you know? Cool guy. But the thing is, every time I spoke to him, whether it was in person or on the phone or over text, Xanax was brought up every time by him. Every single time he'd go, yo, you got any more? You got any more of them shits? It was like a crack fiend, dude. I couldn't do it. So I just had to ghost the guy. I had to, but I felt really bad about it. But either way, I just kind of wanted to make a video about this. I'm kind of torn on what I'm titling this yet. There's a part of me that wants to title it like why you shouldn't do Xanax, but also there's a part of me that kind of just wants to title it like a normal story. And then, you know, let people find out, oh, this is why I shouldn't be a bartard forever. Listen, if you're watching this video and you pop Xans, kick them shits, bro. Dump them. Dump them now. Serve them to people that want them. Get rid of them. Doesn't matter what you do. Get them out of your system. Fuck Xanax. That's the final message. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you did. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, gamers.